Hello everyone, welcome to the Life with a Long channel. I will probably stumble and make a lot of mistakes, so please forgive me. The video is very long and has a lot of details. I'm afraid I might miss something. Today we will talk about splitting stones once again. This time we will discuss splitting larger stones, boulders, half boulders, and rocks. I will explain how it is done and what methods are used. I will share the methods that I have applied previously. Some of them are effective. In principle, they all follow the same rule. Splitting stones consists of three main things. This is drilling. A hole. Carefully inserting wedges into it to split this stone. And precisely. Depending on the choice of length and size of these wedges, it determines how many of them you will need, how many holes, and how many wedges. The first thing I started with was that I didn't know how to drill stones. There wasn't much information available. Now I have a lot more knowledge. I will tell you step by step how I began. I acquired this Bosch hammer drill. It's a good machine, with plenty of power to drill into stones. However, with the SDS Max attachment, I haven't drilled much into stone, especially those suitable for stone drilling. They are extremely expensive, and they will inevitably dull and break. This particular drill bit, about 30 millimeters in diameter, lasts for literally 5 to 10 holes, depending on luck. It might be more, but everyone faces the same issue. This core will likely break, while something else will fail. The drill bit is titanium, but as soon as this core falls out, it won't drill anything at all. The bit overheats, and you can't cool it down with water or anything else. That option just doesn't work. Most likely, if you take a drill bit with a smaller diameter and use very small wedges, then you have a chance, of course, to split some. If this is a one-time case, if you just wanted to split a small stone, you have a few such drills, you don't mind using them, and you have suitable wedges, please use this method. However, most likely, in the long run, it won't work. Drilling. We just looked at this device from Bosch. It can be used, but it's not efficient. Next, we have equipment that is truly more serious. This is commonly known as the Cobra. The manufacturer is Atlas Copco. It runs on gasoline, on fuel. Some models operate on two-stroke. An older model is lying over there on the stone. Two-stroke gasoline with a 2% oil ratio. This model is already running on gasoline, mixed with 2% oil. The instructions state that you should never pour two-stroke gasoline here. I don't know why. I think that in principle it can be varied, and I believe they will work, but most likely some damage will be done. This machine costs a lot more money, so the method he showed in his first video, specifically with Bosch, is budget friendly because you cannot avoid drilling to break the stone or rock. You need to drill it first. How you will do that is a separate question. What you can buy on the secondary market is also another question. Is there a chance to buy it cheaper? Please take advantage of it, but you will have to drill the stone, whether you want to or not. This model on the stone was purchased used. It was about 5 times cheaper. However, I had to service it, which cost roughly the same as I initially paid for it. So it ended up costing me around 2,000 euros. This model new costs about 5,000. There are also other options for such devices. There is a hydraulic version and a version that operates on air using a compressor. The compressor needs to be large, capable of moving air in cubic meters, meaning a simple small compressor that you might use for a nail gun on a roof won't be sufficient. It needs to provide a constant and substantial airflow. So, you have 3 options, and if we were to rank them from top to bottom, the first would likely be the air-powered version, followed by the hydraulic, gasoline-powered one, and then some electric options. Hydraulic and pneumatic are 2 main models that you should consider if you have decided to make this a profession, or if you need to do it for a certain period of time. All these models, hydraulic, gasoline, and air, use these 7-pointed drills. I will show you what they are like. There are 2 types. They can differ in their execution and design, but they are all basically the same. They all have a hole in the middle and a hole at the end here, which allows air to pass through. There is a small blow that blows out all the shavings, thus cooling the drill. Therefore, this drill is much less prone to damage. It will last you for hundreds of holes, even thousands. Here is the second drill. It is basically made in the same way. There are holes for blowing out, but this already resembles a crown. So this crown fits onto this pin, which is inserted into the machine here, and it strikes and rotates, strikes and rotates. The difference between these two drills is that this one drills much faster, but if it gets dull, you'll have to replace this crown, and removing it is very difficult. Most likely, you'll have to replace both the crown and the pin itself. In this case, it can be sharpened. But to sharpen it, if you do not have a compressor and a special sharpening machine for such drills, which is calibrated to a specific angle, you will naturally have to pay for this service, and it is not available everywhere. But this drill can be sharpened and used many, many, many times. However, it drills a bit slower than this one. Naturally, there are different diameters. After you have drilled the hole, you need to wedge it. If you want to break a large stone, you need to take a large wedge. Here it is. It also consists of 3 parts: the core, which will be pressed down, and the stationary side parts that, when lowered, expand the hole. A crack forms, and eventually the stone breaks. With such a wedge, you can break quite a large stone, up to 1 meter in circumference. This wedge can handle itself with the help of a sledgehammer. I started with smaller ones. They do not require a deep hole. Their diameter is 30 millimeters, and they work on the same principle, but you will need to place many more of them, about every 10 centimeters. However, this will also yield results, but it is unlikely that you will be able to break a large stone using this method. You will have to resort to either larger wedges or a hydraulic wedge. I will get to that a bit later. What I would like to say now is that, of course, safety comes first. The first thing you need is safety glasses, because in the beginning, when drilling a hole, a lot of debris flies around and stone fragments often hit your face. It's just a matter of time before one gets in your eye. Second, vibration. These machines create a lot of vibrations. If you work every day, it will definitely take a toll on your health. Therefore, get anti-vibration gloves. There are these gloves. They are the cheapest, but they are probably the best. They are more comfortable. Here they are, these little bubbles. Cost about 19 euros. I ordered them online. There are also these gloves, which are more expensive, costing around 50-70 euros. But to be honest, the vibration felt the same in both these gloves and the simpler ones. It is felt, just somewhere it is felt a little less, possibly simply due to the thickness of the layer. Here I suppose it's just regular silicone, but if you read the code, they are somewhat different. They do add something to them after all. If you are going to work with this type of wedge, it is designed for a hole diameter of 34 millimeters. And naturally, you will have to use a sledgehammer instead of a regular hammer. Many stones in this area were broken specifically using this wedge. Of course, sometimes another wedge of the same kind was added to it, plus a slightly smaller wedge, 32 millimeters. The benefit and advantage of such wedges is that there is no need to drill very long holes of 300-350 millimeters. The headphones are very loud. When this equipment is drilling, you can't hear anything, and it takes a long time to drill one hole. A hole of 500-600 millimeters takes about 10-15 minutes. If the machine is warmed up, it can do it faster, but it all depends on the type of stone. Unfortunately, I can't distinguish between different types. I know there are some layers. Often, the stone breaks layer by layer. First, the top layer is chipped away, then the second. Each subsequent layer is stronger, stronger, stronger. Sometimes the stone splits completely. This stone right here is about more than 20 cubic meters. We have already broken it quite a bit, and we did not use wedges. We broke it with this hydraulic installation. Here it is. It consists of a hydraulic wedge and a hydraulic unit. The hydraulic wedge operates on the same principle as a regular wedge. However, with the help of a hydraulic cylinder, the center is pressed down with a more powerful force than you can produce with a sledgehammer. Here we see a hydraulic unit rated at 600 bar electric. It works a bit slower, but it also breaks the rock, shatters the stone slightly. It has a much smaller volume, around 4 liters, so there isn't as much oil, which takes a lot of time. This device, made in China, produces approximately 100 MPa, 1000 bar. It can provide more power and exert more pressure. Here we have 2 cylinders. One is Chinese, purchased on Alibaba. Overall, it's quite powerful. The wedge has a diameter of 45 millimeters. This manufacturer is the German company Darda, and this is Messi, this is Ronaldo, I don't know, Khabib. This is the standard that all other manufacturers aspire to. There are quite a few of them, but none of them are well known, so hardly anyone knows about them. I didn't know. I didn't know the origin of such things. I managed to buy both this cylinder and that one at a low price. That cylinder came to me without the unit. I just connected it to the existing Chinese one, since all Chinese threaded connectors differ from European ones by a millimeter or half. We had to cut the hose, insert standard European fittings, and in this way we created a kind of adapter that allows us to work. The difference between the Chinese version and the German one is that the one in the right hand is incredibly heavy. It's very difficult to carry. If you have to carry it all day, you will really get exhausted. The German version is much simpler, much lighter, and more efficient. Despite the fact that it works, it requires much less pressure and operates much more effectively. The diameter of this version is 30 millimeters, or rather 34, which allows for drilling stone with a smaller diameter drill, making the work faster and easier. You understand, a smaller diameter means less resistance, making it easier to drill. The original Darda comes with an electric hydraulic unit that weighs about 45 kilograms, while this yellow machine, made in China, weighs 145 kilograms. So, you are unlikely to haul it anywhere by yourself, whether to a trailer or a car. It's a heavy piece of equipment, so you need a partner. In this case, I only had the cylinder itself, which I am very satisfied with in terms of quality. The C4 model is available, the C2, C9, C12 models, and a C20 mounted on an excavator. The 12 and 20 models are available mounted on the excavator. All of this represents an ordinary cylinder. Here is a lever with both a return and inflow. The wedge is pushed in and expands the stone. In the other direction, we turn it to reverse, and it pulls the wedge back. In fact, with this method, using these cylinders, you can split large boulders and stones without any vibration. If you are planning to blast a rock, depending on which country you are in, you will need a permit. That is, it may not always be available to you, and it won't always be very cheap. And if you don't get permission, if you didn't document all the moments of the explosion, with your neighbor, he might develop some cracks, and you will have to pay for it. The most surprising thing was when I realized that everything is learned through mistakes. I made many mistakes. After I bought the Bosch, I worked with it for a while and realized that this method was not suitable. I need a real drill that can drill through rocks. One that fits this type of 7-point drill. So I found this Cobra and was happy to buy this device for about 400 euros. It is manufactured in the United Kingdom and is called Warsop, which translates to bumblebee, I believe. This is what it looks like. It sounds like a motorcycle and is very heavy, made for military use. The first model was produced in 1947. As you can see, this device is absolutely new. But unfortunately, because it has been sitting for a long time, it starts up with difficulty, but it does start. However, it is not very convenient to work with, so it is currently just lying around, waiting for its fate. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll put it in my office, as a reminder that one should think first, and then act. But since I am the kind of person who acts first and thinks later, very spontaneously, I find it all quite challenging. But as you can see, it is an impressive device. Here it is, just like a real machine. It is incredibly packed, and everything works efficiently on the same principle. Only I have one like this, and it is also in the Museum of the Army of Sweden. This makes me happy. Today, I would like to focus on the work of the hydraulic wedge and demonstrate how effective it is. There were many stones and boulders here. We broke and tore them all apart. I want to show you in real time how it all works, how the hydraulic wedge operates, and how effective it is. You can already see that this rock has been quite severely damaged, very clearly. But that's not all. He will have to suffer a little more, and we will have to suffer a bit too, because the work is not easy. And of course, if you want to break rocks, if you want to make this your profession, manual drilling, all of that, it's definitely just toys. A special rig is needed that can move on its own, arriving on tracks and being operated via a joystick. Then it can be done more humanely, without human losses, because drilling like this every day is a very big effort, and you will definitely realize it after a long time. Therefore, I need this system simply because we often dig pools, and in every pool, without exception, there is some kind of rock. Some of them we can lift with an excavator, and some of them we can break with wedges. But large stones and significant sections of rock still need to be broken down, and in this case, a device in the form of a cobra helps, along with the hydraulic cylinder. It all works together. Well, such journeys certainly require a lot of time, a lot of effort, and nerves. But now, I have come to an understanding, and I decided to share it with you. I hope it will help some of you. Many of you probably won't have any need for it at all, because in some regions, in some parts of the world, there are no rocks at all, and there are no cliffs either. Here, in Scandinavia, they are everywhere. This area was completely filled with rocks, and since you want to relax in the backyard, play badminton and grill, of course, these things need to be cleared away, and they need to be removed in only one way, the only suitable method. In this case, there are many neighbors, and the vibrations from an explosion would be significant. And since I don't want to spend money on explosives or hire experts, I decided to take this approach. Where can you get such wedges? Naturally, you can buy them. There is a German website, darda.de, where you can check the price of such a hydraulic wedge. They start at around $20,000 for a set, which includes the hydraulic wedge plus the unit. They also sell scissors and all that. Of course, I didn't have that kind of money, so I bought everything used and somehow put it all together, but everything works very well. Now I will show you how it works. In general, let's get directly to the most interesting part. We will split the stone using the hydraulic wedge from the Darda company. For this I use an electric unit. It is much quieter, a little slower, but it will make the job more pleasant. To begin with, I will install the hydraulic wedge in the hole, and after that, everything will happen. Here, friends, We are moving directly up to the stone itself. Here we have the lever positioned. On the left, we have the reverse. On the right is the front. Now we are going to apply pressure. So we move the lever to the right. Now after some time, we should notice how these hoses will tense up, after which our stone should definitely successfully crack. You see, the crack has clearly formed. Here it is, right here. A piece is broken off. Everything is absolutely very quiet, peaceful, and without any vibrations. It took a little time. The stone needed to breathe, to take in the air, and that's it. There it is, just like that. It cracked. Here we see it peeling off even more. In fact, we have actually indeed already split quite a lot this way. Now it's the work of the excavator and the crowbar. I told you about the layers. Here, the stone splits very evenly along the layers. The layer is approximately like this. You can see for yourself, approximately about 50 centimeters in length. Now we are putting it in reverse, in the reverse position. Now our wedge should rise up. With this unit, it takes us quite a long time. Here in this place, however, it definitely works. Right now it sits quite firmly. As soon as he can walk more freely and comfortably, he can be taken out for a walk. There you go, just like that. With ordinary wedges and a sledgehammer, carefully, it is very difficult to break such a stone. Look at how many stones are lying there, all broken, all shattered. Here, the stone was also broken from the bottom using wedges. Without the involvement of a hydraulic wedge, basically, indeed, everything is possible. Even such large stones, you see, will require a few more holes. Probably one hole in the middle will be enough to create one crack in the backward direction. And the more pieces you need to reduce the size of the stone, of course, the more holes you will need. Now we will take out our wedge. Here is our wedge already. You can see how it slowly rises up. Our central part, it descends in the same way and expands the opening. Dear friends, the work is done. The hydraulic wedge does its job expensively, but effectively. There is just a piece left to break off. I don't know if I have enough strength. In general, yes. Put away the hoses, friends, not to damage them. In general, friends, store the hoses properly. And this will help you keep them in good condition. This is how stone is broken in large quantities. Expensive, but effective. Thank you for watching. Please like, leave comments, and support us. Stay tuned for new videos. Goodbye.